Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Arif Fadilah bin Ahmad Sofi. My matric number SC18019. Today we will like to present to you about the Gorilla Glass in automotive application. Okay, first, the innovation of the thin lightweight glass glazing solution can help the automotive industry meet the needs and wants of government and consumers. What is the Gorilla Glass? Gorilla Glass is brand of chemical strengthened glass developed and manufactured by Corning. The glass gains its surface strength, ability to contain flaw, and crack resistant by being immersed in proprietary hot potassium salts and ion exchange beds. During its manufacture, the glass is thawed by ion exchange. The larger ions occupy more volume. Now the glass used for the car glass because of the properties. For your information, automotive windows glass has not really changed in early hundreds years until now. The tried and true process of placing a thick glass laminate between two plies of solder lime glass is being redefined using Gorilla Glass for automotive. It can make the glass for automotive more effective and give more advantage to the car and the glass of car and for the safety.
Assalamualaikum and good day. My name is Hidayati and Natasha. Okay, so now I will continue with the mechanism of Corning Gorilla Glass. Before that, let's see this figure here. Okay, it is the Gorilla Glass hybrid windshields that is comprised of a conventional thickened LFG layer as the outerply, and in the middle is the PVB and a thin Gorilla Glass layer as the outerply. Okay, so Corning wants to make the windshields lighter, but also recognized that the product is able to withstand the typical rigors of use. Okay, so in order to understand the fractures and breakage in the windshield, Corning scientists conducted an in-depth field study and determined that the impact events were the main cause of fracture in the windshield. So these impact events can cause fractures through a number of different mechanisms and from different laminate surfaces. Okay, and based on this figure, we have like surface 1, surface 2, surface 3 and surface 4. Okay, so for the first one is the blunt impact. Okay, so Hertzian contact stress causes radial stress on the outer surface 1 of the windshield and triggers an existing flaw. So this results in a complete or partial ring crack that could turn into a cone crack. Radial cracks often occur when the cone crack exits the back of the outer ply of surface 2. Okay, second is the sharp impact. Okay, the contact stress of a sharp stone causes damage, which is driven by the thickness of the outer ply. And once the damage causes the neutral axis of the laminate, the damage is caused by the radial or median cracks or radial and median cracks. And since these forms of impact causes its own damage, pre-existing defects do not play a major role in this failure mode. And the third one is fracture. Like upon contact, the laminate flexes away from the impacted object, creating tensile stress on surface 2 and surface 4, which can cause existing defects on these surfaces and lead to radial or median fracture. And look at this figure. For blunt or Hertzian contact, okay, since failure is based on pre-existing defects, parts were pre-abraded and Hertzian contact stress was applied to the windshield using a 1 gram of stainless ball bearing at 45-degree angle of incidence. Okay, and by this figure, on the left data point is the conventional laminate and the right data point is the Gorilla Glass hybrid laminate. And we can see that the Gorilla Glass hybrid laminate is superior to conventional laminate. So in addition, Laminate that contains a thin non-strengthened glass often result in internal ply rupture due to the flat security mechanism of the glass at impact. A large blunt impact. A stair-step drop test using a 227-gram ball simulated impact event such as baseball hitting a windshield. Okay, since the failure of this impact was caused by the reflection of the backside of the laminate, the parts were pre-abraded to inflict equivalent damage to each sample collection. Gorilla Glass hybrid laminates withstood more than 4 times the drop height of conventional laminates prior to continuous breakage. The shock impact test is the most important since the extreme impact is the most common cause of windshield failure in the field. He dropped an 8.5 gram of pyramid-shaped viscous diamond indenters onto surface 1 tested for shock impact. Okay, in this case, the surfaces were not pre-abraded as this form of occurrence does not rely on pre-existing defects. Okay, so the Gorilla Glass hybrid laminates requires more than 2 times the energy of conventional laminates to produce radial cracks in glass. Okay, and this figure indicates the damage caused by the sharp impact of the 1200mm laminate constructions, and the conventional laminate constructions had several radial cracks reaching up to 15mm in length, while the Gorilla Glass hybrid laminate had only a small chip in the surface. These results are important because the radial cracks are limited in strength and significantly more likely to spread than the small chips in glass. Okay, and this was demonstrated by a thermal shock test that simulates a car wash on a hot day where the windshield glass will be very hot and the water will be very cold. Okay, so radial cracks spread rapidly through conventional windshields, whereas Gorilla Glass hybrid windshields with only small surface chips are durable and do not propagate in this test.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Izzuddeen bin Fauzi, and today I would like to explain on the composition of the Corning Gorilla Glass. In automotive, for example, IP windshield, it has 3 layers of glass, which is SLFG, PVB, and the Corning Gorilla Glass itself. SLFG is soda lime glass, which is used at the first layer or outer layer of the windshield. Secondly, PVB, which is polyvinyl butyrol, is used as the middle layer, and finally Corning Gorilla Glass itself is used as the inner layer. But we want to focus on the Corning Gorilla Glass itself. But first, let me explain how Corning Gorilla Glass is created along with its composition. Corning Gorilla Glass is created by these 2 steps. First, it is created by fusion draw process. Second is ion exchange process. Firstly, fusion draw process begins when raw materials are blended into a glass composition, which is melted and conditioned at more than 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. The molten glass is fed into a trough called an isopipe, overfilling until the glass flows evenly over both sides. It then rejoins or fuses at the bottom, where it is drawn down to form a continuous sheet of flat glass that is so thin it is measured in microns. The glass is untouched by human hands or anything else that could introduce flaw into the surface. The raw materials is fine powders, silicon dioxide, for example is sand, and limestone and sodium borate, and mixed with other Corning's secret recipe materials. Next step, after fusion draw finish, the Corning Gorilla Glass is undergone ion exchange to increase its strength. Aluminosilicate compositions like Gorilla Glass contain silicon dioxide, aluminum, magnesium, and sodium. When the glass is dipped in a hot bath of molten potassium salt, it heats up and expands. Both sodium and potassium are in the same column on the periodic table of elements, which means they have behaved similarly. The heat from the bath increases the migration of the sodium ions out of the glass, and the similar potassium ions easily float in and take their place. But because of potassium ions are larger than sodium, they get packed into the space more tightly. As the glass cools, they get squeezed together in this now cramped space, and a layer of compressive stress on the surface of the glass is formed. Corning ensures and even ion exchange by regulating factors like heat and time. Compared with thermally strengthened glass, the stuffing or crowding effect in chemically strengthened glass results in higher surface compression, making it up to 4 times as strong. And it can be done to glass of any thickness or shape. Finally, that is how Corning Gorilla Glass is made. Thank you very much.
Okay. This is the advantages of the Gorilla Glass. Difference with the conventional glass for automotive. The Gorilla Glass allow them to deform and defrost 30% faster than traditional conventional windshields. And then its superior stone impact resistant. The Gorilla Glass for the automotive is a lighter glass, and it can make car faster than the conventional glass. And then it reduces image separation and provide a clear HUD image. Its flatter transmission spectrum also can contribute to better image quality and color rendering for HUD image. HUD is a heads-up display, and you can find it the meaning of the heads-up display or HUD.